cold approach still depends on social proof and
Yes.
pre-selection.
We met about almost exactly a year ago.
Yeah.
It was the first time we did. The first time we met, we did the show. In the last year, I will tell you that my opinions, as far as like, have changed on a couple of things. Not super, but the idea of marrying someone who's older seems a little bit more difficult to me after like seeing the difference. And the reason why is because there were things that say like Rich Cooper would talk about are red flags, and I didn't see them as red flags because I wasn't interested in getting married. And now as I look more at them, and some of my female friends are like older in their mid 30s, and I ask them simple questions like, would you be willing to change this to get married? And they're like, no. Would you be willing to get rid of your? And I was like, damn, they're right. And it's not out of hatred or animosity, but I just come to this realization that it's like you do get to a point where it's like very difficult to settle down with somebody in these places. And then also body count. I always thought body count mattered. I think more so now than ever after like hanging out with you guys for a year. Is there anything you've been out with me to some fucking crazy stuff? And like most humans never get to experience like what we experience. Have you changed your opinions or refined your opinions on anything in the last year?
I think the one of the biggest conflicts that you and I have is like, can men and women be friends?
Yeah.
I haven't really changed my opinion on that, although I will say it's been modified a little bit since then. I think that the way you define it and the way that I define it are two different ways, but I kind of understand why you say what everybody will say. Well, the reason why he says you can have friends is because that's your line of business,
sure.
Right? Again, you don't want to alienate half of your audience, but then in the same respect, it's like a lot of the girls that are your friends are also my friends now too, and I understand. I have a better understanding of social proof and pre-selection now because I have experienced it myself every time I'm out with you. Every single time we were in Miami at Babes in Toyland. Oh yeah, I have to be. I as a married guy, I have to be very, very careful of that because it's a very powerful dynamic. So I'm just like, okay, now it's time to go home. If I'm at what was the last one? Here in Vegas, the Babes in Toyland. I think I told you this. It was right after you had your discussion with that guy talking about debating whether or not cold approach was like superior to like social game or some shit like that. And I'm going, you know what? Both cold approach and social game and pretty much day game, yad stops, whatever the hell you're doing these days. All of that still comes down to one root, or at least from a social and game sense of things. You still got to look good. Don't get me wrong. That's the basis. Okay, looks maxers, you win, right? You got to be, lats and everything, right? But the thing is gotcha. But the thing is that all of that stuff, once you get past the attraction or the arousal phase, you still have to be congruent enough with what you're talking about. So you can be the best looking dude in the world, but if you come off as kind of like effeminate and gay or something like that, that's an incongruency between those things. That has everything to do with social proof and pre-selection. So when we're talking about cold approach, I'm not saying cold approach doesn't work, but it still relies on pre-selection because when you're doing that cold approach, she has to look at you and size you up in a split second to see if whether or not the old adage is a woman knows within the first 5 minutes of meeting you if she's going to fuck you. That's not true. It is she knows in the first 5 minutes if she won't fuck you.
Right.
So all you can do is not fuck it up, or you can just make your case. But that all comes down to, does this guy look like he's congruent with what he's telling me? And my filter is not picking up any anomalies or like my peripheral vision is saying we're alert, danger, Will Robinson. And so when you look at social proof and you look at pre-selection, I think I have a better appreciation of it now because of like the lived experience with you.
Yeah.
Hell, we were at Omnia last night and I was in education. And all I did was just walk around twice.
We did nothing. And there were just girls coming up to us constantly. And like, that's the part like a lot of people don't grasp. I remember the first time, I read The Rational Male like in 2013. And when I do, I remember thinking, because I didn't even know what you looked like back then. You didn't have a YouTube channel. And I remember thinking, man, what would happen if I ever got to take Rolo to like one of the experiences I had? And getting to see your reaction at my birthday last year, like watching it, like actually see, because these things we discuss and actually like, I studied astronomy and like the idea of a supernova, but like getting to witness a supernova, like getting to witness pre-selection firsthand like that. Firsthand. It was just so amazing.
I'll give you an experience. I think I related this to you, but I haven't put this on. I haven't said this on any podcast. It's like we were at Babes in Toyland here in Vegas. Yeah. And I know 90% of the people there. Like Kindly Myers is there. She knows me. I know her. Maya's there. Kylie's there. Yeah. Everybody that I know who's been on this show knows me. So I'm walking around and all these girls come up to me, give me hugs and everything. Hey, I'm Kaylin Franca's there, right? And she's the worst, man. She's like I hang out with her. I know all the other girls are going to come around me. But so we're going around the club, and then it's not just the girls. It's not just having, being around hot women. It's also, I can't get from one end of the club to the other end and then back again to where you're doing the interviews without having to shake hands with like 10 or 12 different guys. Like, hey, Rollo, I love your stuff. Hey, can I ask you some questions? Like, I'm trying to hear over this really loud music and everything. But the fact is that I've got not only women, but I also have guys that are coming up to want to shake my hand. And I'm a semi-celebrity out there as far as I can get, I guess.
Yeah.
And so you do that. And so I'm on the way back to the club and I'm like, and like every girl that's there is going like, who is this guy? You know, like that kind of stuff. They want to follow and introduce themselves to me. And I wasn't until that point that I really lived that out. And I go, you know what? This is some powerful shit. And that's when I came to the realization that even cold approach still depends on social proof and preselection.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, somebody should teach a course on everything he just said.
Somebody should. And you should use my link to go to that course.
We'll put your link in the description.